It's amazing of the things that you can find on the internet when you're actually doing some research. And there's also some interesting things that you'll find where you're not looking for something on the internet. And this discovery that I made, I can honestly say I was not searching for it. But shout out to one of my followers on Instagram who tagged me in this particular post on Instagram. Now, this isn't the post they tagged me in, this is just the picture of the guy that I'm talking about. And this is a testament as to why black people in this establishment historically have never been able to amass any wealth. This right here and a whole bunch of others, but I'm going to focus on this one right here. This man's name is Solomon Linda, and he is an African. He's an African-born musician, and he wrote a lot of songs. And it was one song in particular that he became world renowned famous for that I didn't even know he was the one who did this song. Now, I was familiar with the song because I heard it in three movies that I happen to love. That came, all ironically, all of them came out in the 90s and around each other. And many of you know exactly which movies those are. Those movies are The Lion King, Ace Ventura Pet Detective, and Ace Ventura When Nature Calls, which is the sequel to the first Ace Ventura movie. The song is called The Lion Sleeps Tonight. If y'all don't know how it goes something like this. In the jungle, the mighty jungle, the lion sleeps tonight. That's the song. That is the song that he became very famous for. But I did not know he was the singer of that song. I did not know he was the vocals behind that particular song. Now I'm going to read this caption that went on this picture that I shared on my various social media accounts. It says, Solomon Linda, an African that wrote The Lion Sleeps Tonight, he died with $10 in his bank account. He never got paid for his song that made $15 million by the year 2000. It went to number 1 in 1961 while his kids went hungry. It was covered by several artists. Disney featured it in a movie. When I saw the title, when I didn't even need the part about Disney having it in a movie. When I saw the title of the song, that the lyrics immediately came to mind. This is so messed up. It really is. Because we as black people want to believe, contrary to popular belief, want to amass wealth in this establishment or anywhere where we go. But it's stuff like this, which is why many could not get what they wanted, because it was stolen from them. Because they still seen us as less than human, and they didn't want to compete with us. We just talked about, just last week was the anniversary of Black Wall Street. Imagine that. Black people coming together post-slavery with nothing, absolutely nothing, and creating a town for themselves and businesses where they were making money in the establishment with no government assistance whatsoever. They were practically, in a way, kind of living off the grid. And they couldn't have that. And they needed a reason to destroy it. Every time we created our own spaces or our own thing, it was taken away by force or by other means. Usually by force, though. That's why I said integration was not a good thing, because what happened was whatever we owned now became theirs, or they owned a piece of it, which was usually a huge chunk of it. We weren't ready to integrate into the dominant society. We were still trying to get our foothold on our own. That's why when I see a lot of successful black billionaires or millionaires now, I'm like, they're doing something right, clearly. Hopefully they're able to maintain it, because you can lose it just as fast as it took you to attain it. Now, I was reading somewhere that Disney actually gave the family royalties from it when it was used in The Lion King. They gave the family royalties, especially around that time, which I'm sure were very high, because The Lion King at the time was a very successful and popular film. But I also read that the royalties, quote unquote, expired in 2017. And ironically, in 2017, that's when they announced that they were doing a live action remake of the same movie of the same name, The Lion King, in which that song will also be used in this film. If that is true, Disney is shady as hell for that. Because I don't know how royalties can expire. Unless I didn't read something, but someone let me know, do royalties expire? Because I don't think they do. And that's another reason why a lot of artists of today always read your contracts. Have someone there to read them for you if you don't feel like reading it, or if there's something you're not too familiar with. And also get into other investments outside of just your music, because you won't profit that much off of your music nowadays unless you are a producer or a songwriter. That's where the money really is, the songwriting and the producing. Not so much just being the singer. Hell, most of the money is actually for the singer is made more so on tours. That's where the singer actually makes most of their money after they pay everybody else. If their tour is extremely successful, you're going to get a good payout in the end. I was also informed that there was a documentary behind this as well. I saw it in a few of the comments. I need to go see if I can actually find it so I can actually watch it, because like I said, this is brand news to me. Not the fact that his stuff was stolen. That's an old like an old song and dance that comes to us when it comes to dealing with Palm Colored in his establishment. They have a very rotten history when it comes to that. But as far as learning about the actual singer of this particular song, I did not know that he was the singer. I never thought to actually look it up. But now I'm actually more intrigued, which is why I'm making this video right now. It's like I said, it's really, really messed up. But that's what happens a lot, especially from back then. And why this is why why do you think a lot of artists back in the day, a lot of black artists back in the day, mysteriously died when they were trying to fight for their masters or try to get their masters? Why do you think they hated Michael Jackson so much when he owned over 50% of Sony's publishing and the Beatles masters, as well as his own music? That man even fought to get Little Richard his masters and got them. What art? I think Chris Brown just got his masters this year. And they kept coming up with a whole bunch of stuff to talk about surrounding him getting his masters. See, that's why I say that music industry is shady as hell. That's why a lot of artists like to be independent, or they'll stay underground because they don't have to deal with all the politicking when it comes to becoming mainstream or going to a mainstream record label. They don't want you owning anything. They want you to be a slave to them forever. Now, I know a lot of people are like, talking about, with Jay-Z being the first hip hop billionaire, and I can't even take that away from him. Kudos, congrats to him, because who would have thought that day would actually come? Let's just be real here. A lot of people didn't think that it would actually happen. At the same time, I can't knock what he's doing, because he's clearly following a formula that a lot of people should be following. And then you have Robert F. Smith, being the wealthiest black man. He eclipsed Oprah, who was sitting there for a long time. It's good to hear that this is happening more often, and it's because, as Cerulean Gray always says, empire is falling. And when empire falls, that means that there has to be a new power to take its place. Are y'all starting to get the hint? Wherever they fall, that's where we kind of sneak in, and we take whatever little bit they had and we make it our own. I don't think it can be put any more plainly than that. That way, hopefully, we can leave a legacy, and hopefully won't end up like the ones before us. Now, the ones before us, theirs was, like I said, was taken by force, and a lot of times they didn't know what was going on. And them Palm Color most likely lied to them, because that's what they're really good for. But I would like for a lot of us to be able to leave a generational wealth to those coming behind us. And hopefully we don't fall into the pitfalls or the traps or the treachery like the ones that came before us. And like I said, it wasn't their fault that this happened. It definitely wasn't. We know the reason as to why the stuff happened the way that it did. But now that we know what to do and how to execute it properly in the correct way, hopefully, it shall not continue to happen. But they will try their hardest to take it away, because they're good for that. Notice how every time someone, a black entertainer or a black celebrity, gets in trouble, they start talking about their money. Me and Harvey talk about this a lot. That's because they're plotting on how to take it. Oh, they spent this money here. I remember when Michael Jordan, and I know how some of you may feel about Michael Jordan, but it is what it is. I remember when Michael Jordan, a few years ago, went to Atlantic City, New Jersey to go gamble. And that's his business. He is free to gamble. He's using his own money. At this time, like, I think he wasn't with the Bulls anymore. I think he was with the Wizards at the time. So we're talking about the early 2000s. They actually made it a news story saying that Michael Jordan is gambling. Why is that a news story? Now, if they say Michael Jordan was spotted at a casino, then yeah, I can see that could be a little blip on the radar, and then you go into the next news piece. But they made a whole story around Michael Jordan gambling. As they made it, what they tried to do was they tried to make it seem like he had a gambling problem or he had a gambling addiction, which that was not the case. He was just there, going to the casino, having a good time with his money. But that was the problem. They don't like seeing a black man have fun with money, like, or moving freely. They don't like that. That's why I said they are not far removed from their ancestors whatsoever. And I'm going to stand firmly on that till the day that I die. Hell, that could be one of the little quotes that you put on my tombstone when I do go. One of many. So yeah, in the words of Donald Glover, and I know y'all have a lot to say about him, but there's one line he said, and I'm going to end the video after this, is one line that he said in the This Is America song that always sticks to me whenever I see black excellence and black men in particular actually getting, securing, and possibly owning the bag or the bank. And that's the line where he says, "Get your money, black man." He says it a few times throughout the song. You got to listen to it because it's kind of fainted into the background. But that's all I have to say as it pertains to this story right here. Y'all let me know what you think down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. I will talk to you in the next one.